What's going on? KW Stout, healthmindpower.com. In this video, I'm going to be talking about five common supplement industry scams. Five different things that they do to lie to you or trick you or deceive you just to rip you off, basically. So by now, the industry has changed a lot over the last few years, and you probably hopefully you are kind of already aware of this, and you have an idea that supplement companies aren't quite as honest as they present themselves to be. But if not, if you're new to all of this, then you are in for a treat here, because if you've been reading bodybuilding magazines or fitness magazines or reading any of the mainstream fitness websites, then you've been fed a lot of bullshit, basically. So I'm just going to start. So the number one, anything that makes some kind of outrageous claim, anything that promises some kind of dramatic transformation in a month or less, is a lie. Okay, the body just does not change that quickly. People do not you're not going to lose 50 pounds in 1 month. You're not going to gain 30 pounds of muscle in 1 month. You're probably not going to gain 20 to 10, even 10 pounds of muscle in 1 month, okay? I mean, unless you're brand new and you're doing to lifting and everything, you're doing everything right. I mean, 10 pounds in 1 month would be really, really good. I would be very, very happy if that were me. So you should always have your guard up for that sort of thing. Anything that sounds too good to be true when it comes to supplements is too good to be true. And one way you can, the easiest way to prove this is to look at the list of banned substances by WADA. Okay, this is an organization that regulates what can be used in certain sporting competitions and what can't be used. And if you look at their list, everything that's ever been proven to work is banned. Pretty much every supplement that's ever worked for people either gets banned by use in sports, or it's just completely banned and made illegal. If it's legal, in most cases, it doesn't work. It doesn't do much. That's why they leave it there. They think, oh, well, if these little kids want to play around with some creatine, well, all right, go ahead, But if it actually were to do something, it actually had really strong effects, like steroid-like effects, which is what you're looking for. That's what supplements are claiming to do. Then no, they don't let you play with that. They don't let you have that. Okay, so anything, especially if it's been promoted by Dr. Oz, but anything that sounds too good to be true when it comes to supplements is too good to be true. And you can 99.99% of the time you can count on that. So scam number 2 to look out for are proprietary blends. Now, when you look at the back of a product, actually I have something right here. When you look at the back of it, this is a supplement called ashwagandha. It's more of a health supplement. I don't really use a whole lot of sports supplements because, they don't really work. So if you look at this right here on the back of the label, there's only one ingredient in here, as there should be, but it says the exact dosing on here. So one pill is 450 milligrams. Can you see that? Okay, and what you'll see on some kind of bullshit product is it'll basically list out all of the ingredients on here, and then it'll list it out as a proprietary blend, and then it'll have the total milligrams for the entire thing, meaning the total amount for all of those ingredients combined, meaning you have no idea how much you're taking of each individual one. And the reason why they do that is because what they'll do is they'll take the valuable stuff, the stuff that actually works and the stuff that costs them a lot of money. They'll only put minimal amounts of that in there, and they'll put a whole bunch of other filler products in there, stuff that's really cheap, that doesn't really do anything, and they'll put it in this proprietary blend, and they'll tell you, well, we can't give away our secret sauce. We can't give away our secret formula because our formula is so good that everyone else would just copy it. But what's funny about that is that any other supplement company that wants to copy their little formula can just get their product tested and find out exactly what's in there. So that's how you know that that's not what it's about. What it's about is you looking at the ingredients, and then you using Google and looking up, and looking up the ingredients and what doses they should be, and seeing, this has only got a third of what it should be, and it's not going to do anything, and it's a waste of money. So, I mean, pretty much There are a couple of products I would still use that have a proprietary blend if I know the company pretty well and I trust them, but almost never will I use a product that has a proprietary blend just by default. Just the fact that they won't tell you, if they're not going to be honest with you about what's in there, why would you take it? So, number 3, the cheap protein scam. This is something that Mark Lobliner kind of brought to the forefront in the fitness community and brought this topic. It really was just something that only people within the industry kind of knew about, and it was not a well-known thing. And now a lot of people know about this, and it's something called amino spiking, and that is where, if you look at publicly traded commodities, things like corn and wheat, whey protein is actually a commodity now. And if you look at, meaning the price fluctuates all the time, okay? And the raw cost of whey protein is pretty high. And if you go to, say, for example, go to Walmart and you look at their protein powders, the protein powder, they're selling it for cheaper than raw whey protein. So how does that make sense? It doesn't. And that's because in their protein powder, you're not getting protein. What they do is they spike it with certain amino acids, because protein is just a chain of amino acids. And what they'll do is they've found a specific amino acid that will spike the nitrogen balance of basically whenever they have to have it tested to prove how much that it does have as much protein in it as they say it does. And the way they test it is they look at the nitrogen balance in there. So they've found a way to basically use a certain amino acid to show that result on the test, even though it's not actually complete protein. So when you get any protein that looks way cheaper than the other proteins around, especially, I wouldn't buy any protein from Walmart, but any protein that looks too cheap to be true is too cheap to be true. It's not protein. So unfortunately, good protein does cost money. But if you even looking at some of the best proteins on the market, if you do the math, dollar per gram of protein is still cheaper than even chicken. So even good protein is still a pretty good deal, but it's going to cost you a lot more than the shit you see at Walmart. Okay, so number 4, this one's kind of hard to look out for, and but it is a scam you need to know about, and that is where supplement companies put banned substances in their product, and this has happened a lot over the years. Now, a lot of times the big name companies aren't going to do this because they wouldn't take this sort of risk. This is going to be a lot of these smaller, these just overnight companies. What they'll do is they'll take a product, they launch it, they'll put something in there that's banned, like either some kind of designer steroid or some kind of meth-like stimulant sort of thing. They'll put it in there, they get it, and so that way they can get the product out there. People get results and they're like, oh wow, this is way more powerful than any other supplement. Yeah, duh. And they get that positive feedback and the positive reviews and everything that they can use to drive sales. And what they'll do is then they'll take the banned substance out of it for all of the future release of that same product, and they'll just kind of ride that little wave of the initial excitement that was built up around the product. And once all of that dies off, they shut the company down, they start a new one and do the same thing. That's just a common thing. Or other companies, what they'll do is they'll leave the banned substance in there forever and just never tell anyone. And this has happened with some with some products that got really big and really popular, and they'll do it for a long time. So I believe even Jack 3D was one of the most popular pre-workouts at the time. I believe that was the case with theirs and they didn't find out until someone in the military died from taking their product or something like that. And the thing is, even products that don't have illegal stuff in them, what the supplement industry doesn't want you to know is they have killed people before. Hydroxycut is a popular fat burner, has killed people before. So granted, I'm not saying that there wasn't some chance of the people who died abusing the product or doing other things they shouldn't have been doing. But what I am saying is that supplements present themselves as this completely harmless thing, and they're not. And you should be very careful about what you're taking, what you're putting in your body, because you might think you're just taking some harmless over-the-counter natural supplement, and you could be getting a harsh drug and not knowing about it, which is why I typically stick with the well-established, either I stick with the well-established brands that have a very long, great track record, or I stick with companies of people I know who I trust. And that's pretty much it. And then the final scam is the scam everyone knows about now. And that's the scam where basically everyone is pushing these supplements, they're on steroids. And they tell you it's the supplements, but it's not, it's the steroids. And the way that they can get around this is they can say, if they want to talk openly about steroids, they can say, well, I'm on TRT, I get it from my doctor. But I can tell you that TRT is not going to make you look like the guys who are claiming that, okay? TRT is really only going to have not going to have that much benefit unless you already have lower testosterone to begin with. Sure, it might give you a slight edge, but it's not going to be, it's not enough to be able to be a competitive bodybuilder, that's for sure. So you have to consider your opinion about, your perception, I guess, about supplements and what you're going to be taking. Where are you getting that from? Who exactly is telling you that? And is that really what they used to get results? And this goes back to the first thing. If it really does work, then why isn't it banned? Why is it that everything that does work gets banned, but then they're claiming that their illegal over-the-counter stuff works? Why isn't it getting banned? I mean, if it really works that well, is it giving you a competitive edge in a sport? So if it really did work, it would be. So anyways, I just want to do this quick video just to kind of let you know, especially if people who are new to fitness, they have this perception that supplements are mandatory, that it's just such an important part of fitness, and it's just not. Supplements are at the very bottom of the whole deal. Diet is the absolute most important. Fitness or your training program is the second most important. Then things like sleep and getting adequate recovery are more important. Stretching, mobility work, all that. Then of course there's there are real supplementation like steroids and SARMs. SARMs work, but supplements they give a. I mean, technically there are studies that show that they might give you a 2% increase or whatever, but it's not enough to notice. And supplements aren't really, it's not so much about physical performance. The type of supplements out there that are great and that work are more like health supplements. They actually have lots of health benefits. There are tons of supplements that really do work and really do have a lot of value. They're just not the things that promise to give you a six-pack. These are the things that are going to improve your organ health and help with anti-aging and longevity and these kind of things. There are a lot of great supplements for that. There just aren't really any good supplements for building muscle and burning fat. So anyways, that's it for this video. So be sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.